Everyone. Hey, welcome to another video by Loser LLM. Why Loser LLM? Great question. Because if everyone's a loser, no one is. Isn't that nice? All right. So today, or excuse me, in this video, we're going to be just getting started with LangFlow. We're going to launch the application for the first time. We're going to get a model connected to LangFlow from LM Studio that we just walked through. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you watch that one. And I put together a little bit of a picture to help demonstrate what we're going to do, right? So what you see here is a picture, right? And a picture says 1,000 words. So we've got a crane, right? Because we're going to be doing some construction. So LangFlow can do the same things that LM Studio does, but LangFlow is going to give us each thing as a component, right? So we have to kind of put these pieces together to, and we will do so in a way that will give us the same functionality in terms of that chat interface or the ability just to talk to it like ChatGTP with LM Studio. So what we're going to do, or what we're going to see in LangFlow, is that we don't just have a model, we don't just have like a box where you can enter in text, right? We have to kind of put the pieces together, and then we can talk to it, right? So what it's going to look like on this board that we assemble it on with our our handy dandy crane mouse is we'll have an input box where we can enter in our input, right, like our text, our chat, whatever, or files later down the road. We're going to connect our input to our model here in LangFlow. So this should say model, but it's just saying LangFlow. And then, so that will give us the ability to provide a prompt, right? So text to the model. The model will process it, right? It will run its inference, and it will generate a response, and that response needs somewhere to go. So we're going to drop in another component called an output. So we'll see this chain, and we're going to power it with an agent from an LM Studio agent, right? So we're not going to be going to the cloud. We're doing this local. Let's jump out of the presentation. We're going to do one thing, okay? We're going to go into LM Studio. If we don't have a model loaded, we're going to load one, right? So go ahead and load your Quinn 3 or whichever model you downloaded. Just have it loaded, right? You don't have to interact with it from here. And then we're going to do something that we haven't done before, okay? Now, in the previous video, we did change to this power user, so go ahead and click that. Don't worry about what it means. Just think that it's going to give me a little bit more options, right, just to work with. So when you do that, you get these windows here. Now, I'm going to click on this green one. When I do that, it's going to show me some things that might be a little bit over my head or a little bit confusing. That's okay. Just, like we've been doing, just breathe through it. Just try to stay relaxed, because you can do this. I know you can. So click developer, and we're not going to look at anything on the screen other than just this part at the very top where it says status stopped, okay? We're going to click this. We're going to click it so it says status running. So what did we just do? Well, we just made it so that LM Studio can connect to our models that are, or excuse me, we just made it so that our models, yeah, I did say that correctly. We made it so that we can connect our models in LM Studio to LangFlow, right? So we have to open up a channel, a little lane that says LM Studio, you can talk to LangFlow. So that's what we just did by clicking that button. So we're going to go back to our chats. We're just going to minimize this, right? We don't want to close it. We just want to minimize. So this is our first time opening LangFlow. For me, not ever. I've opened it before. I got a little ahead of myself a day or two ago, because I want so badly to get started here. So on this computer, this is the very first time I've opened it. So it took a little while, okay. And you saw the installation video. You saw where I kind of cut out, but again, that's because I've only got 8 gigs of RAM. I'm basically on a cell phone right now, is what this is. So first time opening it, right? These are the options. I'm just going to click this create first flow. Now it's actually going to take me to some templates, which are pretty great. So there's a lot of things here. Don't worry about what these things are. I'm not going to talk through these yet. We're just going to focus on recreating what we did in LM Studio. We're going to recreate it in LangFlow, okay? understand how it works, and we're going to learn a few things from it, and we're going to be able to apply those principles to other things that we want to create. So let's start with just a basic prompting. So I can tell you this video might need to be recorded simply because we plan on using LM Studio. So as I kind of mentioned in the drawing, right, and I left out one piece, this prompt here that kind of tells the model what to do, right? What's its purpose? And usually you can keep that pretty simple, right? So the default prompt is answer the user as if you were a Gen AI expert, right? I'm just going to say, just please respond. That's it. It has to have something in there. In our input, we say hello. So that, again, if you remember in our presentation, we had an input. We have our model, our language model, right? We're going to be replacing this. We're going to be doing some construction. We're going to be replacing this with an LM Studio node. And then on the response, we have to connect it to an output, right? So back to the picture. It's very simple, really. Well, if you're learning this brand new, it might be like, oh my gosh, like how do I just don't get it? But just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. You can do this. I know you can. Okay. So again, our input, model, output. Okay. Very good. So let's clean this up a little bit, right? So the cool thing about LangFlow is that they give you the ability to add sticky notes, so you can just like drag in these comments and notes for yourself to make or whatever this is. I'm just going to delete these because I'm not, that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to delete the model, and then I'm just going to, in the search box here, I'm just going to type in LM Studio. So here we go. So now it's like it found the LM Studio folder. There's two things here. There's an LM Studio embedding or embeddings. I don't know what the hell that is or for, so we're not doing that one. That's for sure. We're doing LM Studio. I'm going to drop it in roughly the same place. And so now, now that, like, you see how there's these connection points. So now I've got to connect the chat input for us is already out here. But again, we can find all of these components over here in this like this inventory basically. So here's our chat inputs and outputs. And I'm going to just click on this one, and I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard and hide it. And then I'm going to just click it and drag it and pull it back out. And there it is. That's interesting. It's like a different size, but that's okay. All right. Well, we're just going to connect our chat input to our input. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, because that's a chat input. We're going to do a text input. There we go. You know what? This is not going very well. I'm going to have to make this video again anyway. Just back it up. Okay, so it did use a chat input. Okay. Don't worry about the last 15 seconds. We're going to use a chat input. I've been speaking correctly. This is interesting. So we connected our chat input to our input on our LM Studio model, basically. We're going to connect our prompt input to our system message, right? So this instructs our model how to respond, right? So imagine, we talk a lot about templates. Imagine we gave it a template for a response where there was just, X number of bullet points, and each one was a question, and it needed to, or a field, and it needed to put a chat input or an output into each of those fields, right? That's essentially what this is, right? And then here, I'm just asking it to respond. Okay, so now let's configure our LM Studio window. So let's zoom in a little bit here because this is just a giant grid, right? It's free form. We can make it as big as we want to, as small as we want to. Let's just make this so it's easy to see. So on our input, right, we've sort of locked down. We know that we have our input component, we have our prompt component, we have our output component, right? So these things process all of our text. Here's where we get the output. So let's connect Now we need to let's configure the model that we're going to use, right? So we know this is locked down, this is locked. So now our next option is select which model to use. Now, if you've done everything leading up to this, if you followed along, then whenever you select this, it should be populated with the models that you've already downloaded, right? So you enabled the server. It's a local server only. You've enabled the server in LM Studio, and now there's like a beacon, right? And it's broadcasting a signal only on your device. And LangFlow sees that signal, like dials it in. It's like a radio broadcast basically, and says, okay, here's the information. LangFlow's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? I see you're on the same computer. We're friends. Like, let's exchange information. And that's what you end up with here. So now we have our LM Studio node. We're going to load up I'm going to load the Quinn model because it seemed to be a little bit faster just because of the size of our computer. And that's really it, right? So now this thing is all put together. Well, what do we do next, right? So we can test it. We do that in the playground here, okay? So let's click on playground and let's just say, let's look at what we did in LM Studio. So our original conversation was with Quinn B 1.7b. Let's make sure we have the right one loaded. So this can kind of catch you here. The only way to get out of this playground is this X. And I you can just hit escape too. Well, whatever. But it's not, to me, it was never really like obvious. Okay, so we are on the Quinn 3 1.7b. Now the prompt is going to cause the response to be a little bit different, but let's just see what it says. So for Quinn, we said hello. It thought briefly, which we'll see some nuances with LangFlow on how thinking or think text is handled. But we can create a custom component with the help of AI that will handle those think tags properly. So let's just look at that. Let's see how it turns out. So I'm going to go ahead and click on playground again. And I'm just going to type in the same prompt we used last time. Say hello with an exclamation mark. Let's just see. So down here, we can see that it's running, right? So the model has to run inference. And if we're fast enough, well, we don't have to worry about that for now. But yeah, let's do that. So let's look at LM Studio really quickly. And then we can jump over to our tab here. Oh, it's done. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, it's definitely doing something. But basically what I'm trying to show here is that probably not on this computer. I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. It's very slow. Okay, there we go. So for whatever reason, it's because of my computer, obviously. But the LangFlow, right, will receive the message. LangFlow will send the inference in that input to the model, right? So we can see, if we look at LM Studio, we can actually look on our developer tab, and we can see, like in this screen here, it will show us every time we load a model, it'll load here, right? It'll show that bar of loading. And there's some ways you can customize the load, but we're not going to worry about that now. That's some more advanced stuff. And right now, we just want to. The whole goal is to just illustrate the how LangFlow is doing what LM Studio and ChatGPT are doing. Okay, so we saw it responding basically, and so here it is. So here we see our think tags. So again, there's a way that we can create a custom component. I've already done this and proven that it works. We just haven't done it for the stream or for the channel yet. But it generates the thinking text, thinks between the two, and then it says, hello, how can I assist you today? So very simple. Let's look back. How did it respond last time? Oh yeah, okay. So I just said hello. So it said hello there. How's your day going so far? So and then in LangFlow, it just says hello. How can I assist you today? But it does the thinking too. And so you can see. Hopefully now you can see we've installed LangFlow, right? We've installed LM Studio. We ran LM Studio. We fetched a model. We retrieved one from the internet from Hugging Face. We downloaded it locally. We loaded it into the memory of the computer, and then we were able to ask it a question, right? And this is a very small, very small model, 1.7 billion parameters, or let's just say 1.7, right, on a scale of infinite, basically, but let's just say on a scale to 1,000 for now. So 1.7b, 1 billion to 1 trillion parameters. Okay, so it could go from 1 to 999, basically to 1,000. So this model is a 1.7 on a scale of 1 to 1,000, right? There are other models out there that are like, you know, just over a trillion. There are models that have over a trillion parameters. So that would be, this is a 4 billion Google Gemma here. I was looking at the wrong one, of course. But this is a 4 billion parameter model. Oh God, I'm not looking at the one I want to see. Okay, here we go. This Quinn is a 1.7 billion parameter model. Okay, 1.7. Imagine a model 100 times, 100, 100 times more parameters, right? So then that would be a 100 billion. And then, just to really cook your noodle, better take a deep breath before this one. There are models that can be 10 times that, right? So 1 trillion. So this is a 1.7. There's some out there that are over 1,000. So just imagine how different, how vastly of a different experience that can be. And you probably can't. You probably can't even imagine how different that can be. And the reality is that it's probably not that different from this. And we're going to find that out. So let's recover that one more time. So we used LM Studio to download a model. We were able to interact with the model, right? We could turn our internet off and we could still interact with it. We enabled an option that allows other local programs to kind of see the address for this model or for LM Studio and then send requests to it, right? And then we used the built-in chat interface that's in LM Studio, right? I'm trying to stay calm here, But this is very exciting. So then we said, okay, LM Studio like held our hand basically, right? And we want to be a little bit more advanced. You could stop at this level, that's fine. But we're saying, you know what? How do I create my own chat interface, right? So then we opened LM Studio. We imported our model from LM Studio, our connection here. Look at this. It even gave us some time on like how long it took to run. So 40 seconds. Like that's pretty cool too. That's my first time seeing that. But anyway, so then we basically recreated that chat ability in LangFlow, right? So here's where it gets interesting, right? So this is not to blow your mind too much here because this blows my mind. But then we can do one of these maneuvers here, right? So we can start to click all of our things, all our commands. We can copy them, right? And now we can paste it. Now look at this. So now so we have the same thing here, right? So you can only have one chat input because you initiate like a chain of events, a flow of events, right? But so we don't have that node on our input here, right? Because it's not going to prompt us again. But what we can do is we took our first prompt, right? We said, hey, hello. We sent that to our model in LM Studio, and our model in LM Studio gave us a response, right? Well, now we can take that response, right? And we can connect it to another agent, right? And we can say, and this time we can say, please respond in a please send the message you just received, but this time respond in a pirate voice. Okay. So now, check this out. So now, this is the power of local LLMs, and this is the power of LangFlow. Okay. So we start up here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the playground. We're going to send a message. The message is going to get sent to our LLM, right? Its instruction is to respond. So please respond. It's going to complete the message. It's going to provide an output. And so that output is going to be given to us, like here. It says inputs, but it's like an input to the output box, if that makes sense. And then we're going to take that output and we're going to start another chain, another flow. So this time it's going to take the message basically the reply to us is going to be sent to another agent. And so it's going to say, in our conversation, it replied back to us and said, "Hello, how can I assist you today?" And with the thinking. So all that's going to be sent to this second agent, which is really the exact same agent. It's just, it's like a conversation. It's like first we talk to this person and then we talk to this person and now we're talking to this person again. And then this time it's going to process our prompt and it's going to say, okay, this time I have to respond in a Pyro voice. So then it's going to respond to us again and it's going to give us that second chat output. So let's try this out because I think this is just the start of something huge. So we'll go to the playground. We'll say hello, hello again. Let's just see. So now we know. Oh, that appeared pretty quick. So let's look at LN Studio. If we can get to it fast enough. Developer option. Okay, there we go. So now it's generating our message, right? So let's kind of keep that open in the background. Okay, we minimized. So we still see it processing the message. We see that is true also here in LangFlow. So I've never done this before. So this is pretty cool. So I don't know how this will play out. I don't know if it will display the first message and then it will display the second one, or if it will just, the first one will get, or if we'll only see the last action. I think that might be what happens, but we'll see. So it's still generating. Okay, we know it's going to take a little while because we're only working on 8 gigs of RAM here. Red Bull gives you wings. I don't know. We might need them here. We'll see. We're doing good. You can't see behind my chair, but very down there in the corner, very small, where it says RAM, it kind of tells you how much of your memory and your system resources are being used. Now, I wouldn't expect those to be 100% accurate, but I think it just kind of gives you like a good idea. Oh, here we go. Okay, so first, oh, it's still going. Okay, so that was the first message. So it responded to us, and then it took this response, and then it sent it back to, let's see. That's still going to work. Let's just make sure. Oh, yeah, it's still going. Okay, so it took that first message, and it gave us the response here. Oh, look at this. Okay, that's cool. So if I close it, it's going to show me where it's working at, right? So, okay. So now it's on this part of the chain because it's got, you can see it in motion. So that's cool. Oh, and it's done. So that means if we have parallel inference, we can see which chains are active. Okay. Whoops. I don't know what I just pressed there, but that's not what we wanted to see. All right. So playground. There we go. Look at that. Grins. Whether you need a tale told, a rum ration calculated, or just a chat, I'm here for ye. Waves the pirate hat. What's the wind be blowing? There you go. So how cool is that? Now, just imagine, that's just we demonstrated how to recreate LangFlow, right? Or not, excuse me. We demonstrated how to create that chat bot, right, where you can enter in a message and then it gives you an output, right? It processes your message, or it just replies to you, right? And then we said, okay, you know what? We're going to then take that message and we're going to send it to another LLM, and then it's going to take that message as well as our system prompt, and it's going to respond to that message. So you can imagine, maybe take a deep breath first and then try to imagine it. But imagine what you can accomplish with just this one simple tool, right? There will be things that we can do on top of this, like adding in long-term memory, okay? The ability to like stay um, like be able to remember like previous conversations. So say you upload a file, like a receipt or a bank statement, and you say, you know what, you're like, hey, how much did I spend on so I do 3D printing. So one of my expenses is filament, right? So like the material that you use to like the ink in a printer, basically. Well, one of my expenses, I want to know like how much did I spend on filament last year? And so if I don't have like if I don't do a good job of keeping my books, which I don't, I can just go to my bank, I can download my statement, I can upload it to here, and I can say how much money did I spend on filament, right? Now it's only going to be able to answer to the degree of which my receipt is detailed, but if I can say, like I always buy my filament from Bamboo Labs, right? Then it can just go back through, find all of my transactions that are related to Bamboo Labs. It can summarize them, and it can give me, and it'll probably ask me some. I can say, how much have I spent on filament, and then ask me 3 questions, or just like something, I don't know, and it will do that. It will help you, kind of explore your own thoughts, really. Okay, we're gonna stop it there. This is a 25-minute video. I don't know how well these will be received. I don't know if I'm that entertaining of a person. So we're gonna start trying to chunk these things up, like demonstrating um, like concepts more than actual like assigned work. And then also once we do that, we're gonna everything that I cover, I'm gonna make like open source essentially. Like I'm gonna put a link to it all in my um, in the video description, so you'll be able to find links for where to download the tools. And then like once I start building out these flows, I'm going to include the flow, the file that it's saved as, so people can just download the flow, change the connection for their AI model, and then just just like we did, just hit play or whatever. So all right, thanks again. Seriously, I really appreciate if anybody watched the video to this point. I really appreciate you just even trying to absorb the information. And what I would truly appreciate even more is if you, I don't care if you like and subscribe. I want your feedback. If you thought this video sucked, tell me. Tell me what I can do better. I want this to be a resource to people that are trying to learn AI. I want this to be a resource to people that are intimidated by it. Like my goal is, I've tried really hard to tone myself down, and and like right now it's getting away from me. But like the potential of this is so great. Like I don't currently have a job. I wish that I did, so I could get this to do my job for me. Okay. And I think it's even better that I don't have a job, so that if I did have a job and I was making videos trying to teach people how to do their job with AI, then my job might be like, hey, why don't you show us what you're like? We just want to shadow you today while you do your work. And I'm like off, I don't even know, like outside. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.